Hello there, everyone. Welcome to our first Environmental Echoes podcast, Love Your Work, with special guest and our very own Bright Green Business Network member, Rob Moore. Hi there, Rob.
Hi, Rachel. How are you?
Yeah, great. Thanks. Thank you so much for coming along today.
No problem.
So, our podcasts are all about knowledge share with our Bright Green Business Network members and with other like minded individuals and organisations. We'll sit down with one of our members and share thoughts, tips, ideas, and services that may help your business transition towards environmental sustainability that little bit easier. We echo what businesses are doing environmentally and create a platform to discuss business and the environment. Now, today we're looking forward to sharing our lunch with you today. And if you have any questions at all and you want to join the conversation, just use the link above. So today's session, we'll get all the tips on how to get that perfect work-life balance and lots more to help you love your work. This can either change your life or at the very least and have a enjoyable way to have your lunch today. I'm thrilled to be hosting this podcast. It's a great opportunity to meet and chat with our fascinating members and find out a lot more about them. While listening to our podcast, keep in mind that these our guests could be potential partners or an ideal person to connect to your network as well. So the speakers, I'll first introduce myself. I am Rachel and I'm the new addition to the Bright Green business team. I've been with the company since February 2019, so that equates to about 4 months now. And my main role is the management of the Bright Green Business Network, which I absolutely love doing. Having come from an environmental science background, I am thrilled that my job is to encourage businesses all across Scotland to reach their sustainability goals and become that little bit more environmentally friendly. But enough about me. I'm actually more excited to welcome Rob Moore, our special guest. Rob has his very own company called RGM Consulting, which essentially helps people, teams, and businesses grow. He is a go-to person for expert help or extra resources to achieve your goals. And in addition, because he is super, Rob is an associate director of Project Scotland, who support young people on their journey into the world of work, as well as offering practical training solutions for businesses to help them make sure their workplace is ready for young people. So sounds fantastic. I'm not going to ask you which one you prefer working at,
No, that's
Rob.
not fair.
That
No.
is not fair. You can't choose. So welcome, Rob. I'm delighted that you can come along and you can give us a little insight on how we can all love our work. Great picture, by the way.
Thank you.
Okay, so everyone, sit down with your lunch, your coffee, or your friends while I grill Rob for about 30 minutes on different aspects of working life, including career transition, sustainable values, improve your performance, generations, staff away day / perks, and work-life balance. So, without further ado, are you ready for your first question, Rob?
Think so. Go for it.
Okay, perfect. So this one is nice and easy. Now, the title is Love Your Work. What do you love about your work, Rob?
Thanks, Rachel. I love the flexibility and the variety of my work, and I get to meet a huge range of characters and some really exciting businesses. Mentioned flexibility there. Flexibility for me is around being able to work around the fun and the needs of my family and my pets. The variety I get, give you an example from developing blogs for a major website to training people on employability skills. And then I could be supporting a small business, help them achieve their business goals. And I get to meet great characters and businesses as well, from supporting really excitable entrepreneurs to help them focus on their development activities, to doing one-to-one coaching with individuals whose confidence might have been shattered after a tricky period in their career. So it's a really great mixture, and that's what I love about the work that I do.
Oh, sounds fantastic. And what sort of pets do you have? That's a very important question.
I do. Got 2 border collies, Carrick and Fly.
Oh, lovely. So that's interesting. We'll move on to the next question. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, so this one's all about career transitions. So as you can imagine, many of us us have been in this situation where we might be feeling essentially stuck in a rut, accepting a daily job that we just don't love. We do spend about a third of our lives in work. You probably already, at least you probably already knew that. So, what would be maybe your advice for someone thinking of making a change? So, this could take two separate forms: either parental leave, who are then returning to work, or looking to up the career ladder through a promotion, or simply wanting to further their training or get qualified within the business.
Yeah, no problem. Well, I'll deal with those two questions separately. So, career transition is always a tricky time for people because it's a little bit of time of uncertainty. There's probably some stress attached to it, a little bit worry about the future. And when people are returning to work after parental leave, there's quite a good number of things they need to think about. I mean, it's essentially a new you with your new life with your baby. Your priorities and your boundaries have changed, and your outlook has shifted. Somebody could be really, really career focused and all about work, and then this little bundle comes into their lives, and their outlook has shifted quite rightly into looking after them.
Yeah.
For most at this time as well, your energy and motivations level might take a bit of a hit. But on the positive side of things, your skills and experiences that are beneficial to an employer are still brilliant.
Yeah.
So work with your current employer. Work with somebody who really appreciates these skills, recognises that there's a skill and labour shortage out there in the marketplace, and work with somebody who goes out their way and embraces all that you can offer in a flexible and rewarding way. And I think if you think about it along those lines, it'll make going back to work after parental leave a bit of an easier change to make sure that you don't forget about these skills and experiences that you've got, but they do need to be appreciated and they do need to be used in the proper way.
Yeah, definitely, because you don't want to be made to feel when you're away for at least 6 months that you've been replaced as well, or someone else is, part-time doing your role while you're there.
Exactly.
So I don't know if you have to sit down with your employer and, get their advice on what the next steps are that they've returned to work.
Yeah, certainly. I think all individuals and employees need to have the responsibility of keeping up to date, making sure they're up to date with both their technical skills and what's happening within their organisation.
Okay.
But overall, I mean, life goes past really quickly, and it's not too hard to catch up with a lot of things that are going on. And I think most people who work in maybe a service environment, their customers and their colleagues will be delighted to know about their new addition and their changes and everything else. So I think it's a hugely positive area.
Yes.
But also, as well as that, if you are in an environment where where an employer doesn't necessarily appreciate your skills and experience, if you've been off for a period of time, then it is often the time to make that challenging decision to think to yourself, well, do you need to move on?
Well, exactly. Yeah, you want to, like you said, have a happy work environment and able to, share your new life experiences, whether or not you might be going on a holiday and you come back and you want to talk about that, and then also about your new family. You don't want to just turn up to work and everyone sit at your desk and get on with it. So, right, great.
And career transition can also take the form of you wanting promotion. You don't have to be wanting to win a gold medal in the Olympics, but I think there's an inherent need in everybody to think that they're either being challenged, and that might turn into promotion at work.
Yeah.
And are you ready for it? And you first ask yourself, maybe perhaps in a marathon running terms, if you don't have the stamina or the muscles, are you quite ready for it yet? But without the right skills, a job that you want is unlikely to go very well. And my suggestion around promotion is usually, if you want to get to work in plugging the gaps in your skills, is look at training programs, take it upon yourself to think, right, what skills do I need to brush up on? What experiences do I need to learn more about? And these might be people skills, they might be technical skills or fundamental business skills to help you get ahead. But I always think, don't be shy in your current employment. Ask for help with training, ask for help with development. There is funding available publicly for some qualifications, not necessarily for all professional qualifications, but if your employer sees that you've got certainly potential and the desire and the motivation to develop in the workplace and you want to be promotion, then yes, you've got to put the hard work in to make sure that you're qualified enough to do that.
No, that sounds really interesting. Relating to the promotion, you might, if anyone's interested, you can go onto Rob's website. You've got a fantastic blog that you wrote, which really adds to your portfolio of work that you do and advice that you give. This blog's called Looking for a Promotion. And I just love how it highlights the power of positive actions and thinking. So we all know in a workplace that you're not the only one looking for a promotion.
Yeah.
It goes beyond the length of time that you've been in the company and the qualifications that you have. It also includes the behaviour of yourself and work. I found it interesting, the 4 points that you mentioned, good traits to have in your workplace, in your blog, and that's including working hard well with others, being constructive in the face of issues, supporting your colleagues, and listening to useful suggestions. So you can't go in and wave that flag and say, oh, I've been here for X number of years, I deserve a promotion. Like you said, you have to act a certain way towards your work colleagues and earn that gold medal. I love the marathon analogy. It was great.
It's good. And I think, it's gone are the days when longevity in one job gives you the automatic right to promotion. It doesn't. It's really down to skills, attitude, and the experience that you can bring. And an employer is going to be really looking for somebody who can make a difference in their business, both financially and culturally.
Yeah, definitely.
So you need to be able to understand those before you actually get cracking into that promotional sprint.
Yeah, definitely. And some people take 6 months to train for a marathon, others take a year or 2 years. It's just depending on, but everyone will get there in the end if they put in enough effort.
Yes.
Great advice. Thanks, Rob. So next question, sustainability values. Now, this is my favorite topic, as you can imagine, because I'm in this sort of sector. So studies have highlighted that many job seekers today, particularly graduates, are looking to work with sustainability companies, or sustainable companies. Why do you think sustainability attracts job seekers?
I think at the moment, if you look at graduate job seekers, by normality, they tend to be younger generation.
Yeah.
And I think younger generation are a lot more aware of environmental issues and sustainability more than maybe the older generation in the workplace overall.
Okay.
And so if it's one thing that they certainly value, then it needs to be there to make sure that employers can actually promote the fact that they have a sustainable business overall. Now, I think from my work with Project Scotland, when we look about sort of millennials and their values, that a sweeping statement, but millennials do tend to blame the older generation for ruining the planet, which is not a badge that they want to have themselves moving forward.
Sorry, older generation.
Well, it could be true. It could be true. So businesses with a sustainability record and a mission and vision that promotes that is key. And an employer needs to communicate their sustainability to job seekers, and how they can do that in a lot of different ways. And the line from one of my good friends, Graham Wilkinson, was telling me that vision and mission and values need to be lived, not laminated. So if they're related to sustainability, then that's a great starting point to be able to promote the sustainable nature of a business.
Definitely.
It appeals to the personal values that people might have, and that's a great hurdle to get over. When employers are advertising for roles, yes, you have to put in about how successful you are, what profits you are, maybe that you offer a pension or benefits, but however, leading with success stories around sustainable endeavours, rather than just here's a task that you will do, will get the attention of a job seeker these days.
Yeah, definitely. I remember I was reading an article the other day, and it said that sustainability initiatives suggest that the company genuinely cares about the well-being of society more generally, and therefore must treat its employees well like that as well. So even just having those sustainable initiatives really kind of boost your competitive values there.
I think if businesses just have sustainability as a word within some of the descriptions of their company, they're just using it as a badge. They need to, like I say, live them rather than laminate these things in order to attract the right people.
Yeah, and why do you think millennials care more about the environment, in your opinion? Just a random question on the side there.
Well, people are more aware now with the amount of information that's out there with the web, the news. We're 24/7 microsecond news. Everything's happening immediately now.
Yeah. So the influencers, do you think it's other kind of scientists or news?
I think influencers are everybody that are around you, whether it's friends, families, employers, famous people. It could be anybody, but people appreciate that a lot more people have very different values, but they also understand a lot deeper around the impact that they have on the environment, whatever they might be doing, whether it's driving, working, traveling. People have that wider knowledge of it now, so it becomes something that people stand up for more. Yeah,
definitely. Oh, sounds fantastic. And you raised a good point that what was the saying that you said, that they're not
values and mission, they're lived, not laminated.
Lived. Oh, that's another one, some alliteration there. I've got some examples about that. The Royal Bank of Scotland, for example, they had their engagement, a jump project basically, and this encourages employees to engage in energy saving and sustainable travel, waste reduction, and lots of other sustainability actions. So I thought that was quite a nice example, just a major organisation, and for me, that's something that's quite attractive to. In a job application, and to see and to apply for that, I would love to work with, even though it's banking, and that's not something I'm personally interested in, in finance. But at the same time, I'm like, oh wow, they're into sustainability. I would love to work with people like that in a mindset. And same with, in some companies, in hospitality companies, they have on their website blogs relating to ways of staying green while traveling. So just going onto their website and saying that they're publishing those sort of blogs and articles is really attractive. That's for a company, and then you start applying. And then when you're at interviews, the main one of the main questions that employer asks you is, what are our values? So if you know that they're values and that they're have these
and they match your personal ones, then great. It's a cultural fit to start with.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Oh, fantastic. That's interesting. Okay. Next question. Oh, generations working in the same workplace. So this is something relating to a little bit to Project Scotland. They touch on generations, don't they? But before we begin, can you first define the three generations? Because I know, or 4 or 5, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, there's just about 4 generations in the workplace just now. Baby boomers, who classed as people who were born before 1964. You've got Generation X, which includes me, of people born between 1965 and early 80s.
Perfect.
And then you've got millennials, much spoken about millennials, who are usually born sort of early 80s up to the late 1990s.
Okay.
And then fresh into the job market just over the last year or so, the Centennials.
Centennials, that's a new one. I've not heard them before.
They're people who were born after the year 2000, so they're just entering the workplace just now.
Okay. So we need to watch out for them. They're going to be the annoying ones, trying to want all that technology in the workplace.
They're going to introduce a whole different dynamic into the workplace.
Exactly.
Because of the screen generation, which is good in some ways, classed bad in some. However, the good thing about having lots of different generations in the workplace, can it create a happy environment or lead to problems?
Yes.
It can do both. On the positive side of things, because this is about love your work, I kind of think that having lots of different generations in the workplace is brilliant, because as long as everybody understands the way each individual works, so each different generation has different traits.
Yeah.
And those traits can vastly be different for everybody in the generations. But the key thing is if people understand, if you're a Generation X or a baby boomer, do you understand the traits of a millennial or centennial? And if you don't, find out. And vice versa, a millennial or centennial needs to understand the traits of somebody who's more mature in the workplace. But if everybody understands these traits, they can work better. It really benefits team effectiveness, which in turn helps performance, it helps engagement, and ultimately it helps profits and it helps customer satisfaction. Yeah.
So for example, an employer. I've got a very busy day ahead of me, or week or month, and I've just employed a few new Generation X or millennials, sorry. But I don't have the time to kind of understand and evolve. Essentially, is there a way for me to adapt or evolve quickly, or any help that I can?
There's lots of help out there. I think there's lots of information out in the world about the different generations in the workplace. I think how you adapt that information to make it relevant for your business or your organization or your department, if you're in a bigger company. Project Scotland have some great training called Millennials Are From Mars and Managers Are from Venus.
Oh, perfect.
And it helps people understand the traits of the generations, and also helps people use these traits positively to impact team performance. So in general, team effectiveness is going to be better in any team if people understand each other better, whether it's their traits, their behaviours, their skills or experiences. So Project Scotland have a great workshop that's available for that.
Perfect. And just in case, feedback. Great. And if any listeners are interested in this, do they get in touch with yourselves? And if they want to take advantage of these
absolutely.
workshops?
Yeah, they can get in touch with me or Graham Robertson, who's the development director, so you can whiz me a note through LinkedIn.
Oh, perfect.
Or I'm sure our details will be available through Rachel and the Bright Green team as well.
Yeah, we'll be happy to help you out with that as well. Perfect. Great. I think that's everything about generations. And we'll just move on to the next question and have a little look. Ooh, performance at work. Wow. So, in your opinion, what are the top 3 ways to improve your performance at work?
Okay.
This is quite a broad question.
It is a broad question, but I've got a very, very simple answer.
Oh, perfect.
Because you could take this, you could take a whole day talking about performance at work overall. But if you as an employee, as an individual, want to take a little bit more responsibility and think, I really need to improve my performance at work.
Yeah.
First thing is to find out or know what's expected of you.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really improve if you don't know what's expected of you. So whether this is your colleagues, clients, your boss, it's just making sure you've got a good understanding of what exactly is expected of you at work. Second thing is know how you can deliver on those expectations, and also know what's missing. What skills have you not got that will hinder you from hitting those targets or those expectations overall? And it does go back to what I'm saying about maybe you might need more training and development.
Okay.
And the third thing is really value your colleagues, listen, learn, and soak up the expertise around you, and then use it to your best advantage. There's so much knowledge in a workplace environment, even if it's a small team of 3, big team of 100. People do take it for granted that the skills are there, but they don't actually use them. So use your colleagues, listen, learn, and soak up the experience around you, and use it to your best advantage.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a great idea. Is you do have your boss there for advice, but again, don't be afraid to ask help from your other colleagues, whether they're a higher generation or been there for longer or any time. Just speaking to one another is the best way, I think, as well, to improve your performance. Great, thanks for that. All right, okay, so staff away days and perks. This is a great idea. We all love perks. I think they're a great thing to have. But do you think this adds to people feeling valued?
I think so. I think one of the things you mentioned to me was Elaine here at Bright Green. She took paternity leave when she got a puppy, I think.
That is where she is right now. She's away on paternity leave. I'm sure she can work from home, but if she's listening, hi Elaine. She's currently sitting with her little retriever puppy Angus, working from home, so she's on paternity leave, and that's made her very happy. And a happy Elaine is a happy business. Absolutely, a Bright Green business.
You mentioned about staff away days and perks overall. Perks are certainly are always of value, but to me, I think only if they match the values of the individual. So what I call a sheep dip approach, as in the same thing for everybody all the time, sometimes now doesn't cut it. And a team building day in the hills might be really exciting for some people, but others might absolutely hate it, and so it can be counterproductive for a certain percentage of the team. So I think perks and motivational activities, they can be both mentally or physically stimulating. So I think an employer now has the responsibility to really find out what makes each and every individual tick and reward it accordingly.
Okay.
Now that can be tricky if you're in a big team, but there's got to be a general consensus overall.
Yes.
But you've got to treat the individual as understanding exactly what they want.
Yeah.
And I think flexible and innovative benefits can set businesses apart from others when it comes to recruiting talent. So getting it right is key. But getting it right is key. Is looking at best practice within your particular industry.
Yeah.
And more importantly, asking your current team, what's the motivational thing? What's the reward or the perk that they'd like that would make them tick a bit faster, a bit quicker, a bit better for your customers overall?
And it's not essentially just coming to work to earn the money. You do want a nice working environment that do give you these rewards for completing certain tasks or anything like that.
Especially if it's team performance as well. Is that team performance needs to be rewarded with a team activity of some description or a team perk, but it has to match the individual's values that are in that team. Yeah,
because I'm just thinking along the lines of SMEs, what they could do, because obviously they're slightly smaller, and I don't know if something like broad perks might work. For example, little hint for my company, putting free food in the fridge. Even just to promote a healthy a good health. They've maybe put fruit in the fridge, and that's just
Great
gym membership.
Something slightly different, but I think it's making sure that if your employer understands you and has asked you what would motivate you as a reward, then you feel even more valued because not only they listened, they did something about it as well.
Yeah.
So whether it's an SME business or a large corporate, is that everybody has the ability to ask their teams what would motivate them for a perk or a benefit or a reward.
Yeah, definitely. Or I remember reading one where it was you were given an hour for you extra to a week, so you could be working for a charity that's really personal to you, or an extra hour in bed, or something for your well-being. I don't know, just having that hour to yourself that really makes a huge difference, and it doesn't take a huge effort, I don't think, for employers.
It's low cost for an employer and high impact for the employee.
Exactly. See, you've got really good, sayings here that you're giving me. Yeah, that's really interesting. So in all, staff media days and perks are fantastic. We should all have them.
They should, as long as they're personalised and they're researched and they're dealt with smartly for everybody.
All right, perfect. Okay, so let's have a wee look at the next question. Work-life balance. So should we have the opportunity to work at flexible times? There's 3 questions here. Is working from home the norm, essentially? And should your boss trust you to produce high-quality working results without being in the office? So you can tackle this however way you like.
Well, I'll go for it. Okay, first of all, I think next time I do this, I'll change my slide here to say life-work balance, because I think that's a better way of putting it, rather than work-life balance.
That's a really good point.
Life comes first. But hey, so should we have the opportunity to work at flexible times? My answer is yes to that. But I think if it suits the business needs and the customer expectations of that business, then yes, I think everyone should have the option to work flexibly, but at the choice and control of the business, not just at the expectation of the employee.
Perfect. Great.
Okay.
And I know that you work from home, Rob. That's fantastic. Is that the normal thing to do these days, do you think?
I think, just for clarity, I mean, home working is 100% when you're working at home, and there's a lot of roles out there. You could work for maybe a remote call center and you're 100% based at home.
Okay.
So I call that home working. Working at home or working flexibly is probably slightly different. So I do enjoy working at home. I think it's sometimes has its challenges if you've got a busy household, but also it has the rewards of that you're cutting down on travel, environmentally very good.
Exactly.
As long as the communications are fine, well, and you can fit it in around family and everything else that goes on at home. I think the main thing about that is making sure that when you work from home, when you work from an office, you've more often than not got a nice desk set up. You've probably got a good chair that supports you physically. You've got an environment that works for you. You've got your air conditioning, your heating, your computer that works, your desk. Whereas at home, sometimes people are just expected to maybe sit on the couch with their laptop. So I think it's just, home working or working at home is I think the research shows about 4 million people in the UK work at home all or some of the time.
Oh, wow.
But employers, they still have the duty of care to make sure that home working environment, the logistics and the safety of you as an employee is 100% right.
Oh, I was going to ask that. They have the responsibility, if they're saying you can work at home, do they have the responsibility to make sure you have the broadband?
Yeah, ultimately they don't have the full responsibility. They've got a duty of care to make sure that you're comfortable working in the environment that you need to work in to get the results that you need. And I think if you've got a separate place at home, that's great, because then you can shut that room, or you can leave that room and leave it as your work, rather than necessarily just sitting at the breakfast bar or sitting in the lounge.
Do you have your own separate office then at home, or how do you usually work it?
I just have different chairs for different time of the day.
Oh, right. Whatever kid isn't on that theme. You're the one that has to move around.
It's a flexible environment, I think.
Well, it seems to be working for you really well. So
it does.
That's
and also,
great.
I think consideration of technology as well, if you are working at home, is that there's no point having a slow old laptop or slightly dodgy broadband, or a really, really noisy environment at home when you are dealing with customers, because you've still got the reputation and the brand reputation of the business that you represent.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
Still got to be professional. So is it the norm? It's the norm for a lot of people. I think there needs to be flexibility to allow people to do that, but also equip them with the kits and the environment that they need to make sure they're doing the job right.
Yeah, definitely.
And you asked there, another one, should your boss trust you to produce high quality working results without being in the office? A massive yes for that one.
Yeah, I thought so.
If an employer has taken the time and the energy and the cost to recruit and train you, then trust really should come from day one.
Yeah, 100%.
And unfortunately, it seems for some businesses, not all, for some businesses, you have to earn this trust or earn the right to work flexibly, which to me is wrong, because trust should come from day one.
Definitely.
And I think having a quiet, focused time is proven to help people be very productive and produce high quality work.
Yeah.
So if you are at home and it's in the right environment at home, then it's more quiet and focused more often than sitting in the office with a larger and a busier team.
Yes.
But it sometimes does come at a cost. Somebody's working at home, whether it's some of the time or all the time, they do miss the physical collaboration, the teamwork, the human connection can be lost without a physical place to be with your team members. So be aware that it can have a negative impact on somebody. You can be highly productive and do some great quality work, but on the other side of things, whether it's mental health or well-being or your engagement with the business and your colleagues could take a hit if you're there too, if you're working at home too much. You don't have the mixture of that environment overall. So definitely. I think a life-work balance is really important, and I think an employee and an employer needs to have a real good conversation around sort of trust, facilities, and the right balance, but it's got to be right for the business and the individual overall.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great. And just from you saying that working from home can be a little bit sometimes distressing when you're not having that engagement with a team. Are you, for you, someone that works from home, do you look to hot desk or anything like that within offices to have that kind of office environment engagement with others? Or
I do, yeah. I think I mean I'm in the lucky position where I'm out seeing clients quite a lot as well, so I'm not 100% working at home. When I am working at home, I know that I plan my time because that's the quiet time that I need to get the work done.
No, definitely.
But yeah, I think self-employed people, there's a lot of opportunity now to hot desk and co-work within environments. Which is great, really good for ideas and collaboration, even with others that you don't necessarily work with, but it's great for creativity and confidence overall.
Yeah, I think at Bright Green Business, we've got a really good balance in that if you have, say, a report or something to do and you just need silence, you have the opportunity to work from home and just get that done. Also, when, say, you're out at meetings and you finish that meeting at 2:00, instead of traveling all the way back to the office, it takes about half an hour more to get back into the swing of things. You just go home, get settled, and then you can continue your work as well. So that has, positives and negatives to that as well. All right, so let's just see if there's any other questions. Oh, well, that's our final slide. Thank you for listening, everybody. Just a quick shout out to see if you can follow us on Twitter and Facebook, and contact Bright Green Business through our email. If you have any questions for Rob, you can message him on Twitter or Facebook, or contact him in his email as well about anything relating to Project Scotland or needing his advice with anything. You're very well experienced in that side. And I'd just like to say that our podcasts are aiming to reach out to a wider audience and to learn more about our members. And we feel that it's a much more environmentally friendly way than getting everybody to drive in their cars or even use public transport and meet in one location. It just cuts out all those carbon emissions a little bit more and makes that a little bit more effort. So thanks so much, everyone, for listening. We'll have our next webinar probably at the end of the month or next month. We'll see. I'll let you know. Okay, bye.